everyone, and welcome back to the E.U.W Ministry YouTube page. I am back with part 2 of 30 things that I've learned so far in life. I recently turned 30 by the grace of God, and I pray that what I share will bless you. So picking up from where I stopped, number 16 is this walk with God is not comfortable. To grow and excel, you must be willing to be made uncomfortable. And that's something that we live daily. You know, we will be stripped of things that we love. We'll be stripped of things that we think we need. We'll be stripped of, bad habits, decisions and desires that we have, which does not align to God's will for our lives. People will leave our lives and we'll leave people's lives. So every day there's something that we're facing, and every day is a battle. And so the moment that you pick up your cross and you say, I'm following God, is the moment where you're actually going to be uncomfortable. And it's not a time to, question or doubt or play the victim. But it's a time to ask, okay, I'm getting uncomfortable in this situation. How can I learn from this? What is God trying to show me? Rather than complaining about being uncomfortable, let's use it for our good and ask Him, okay, what is it that you're trying to show me in this that I myself cannot see? And always just have the understanding that everything that you go through work together for your good. The 17th thing is, no matter what we go through, there is a reason why the character gets affected, because it's in this time it's purged and refined. So again, the character traits that we had from years back may not be the same we have now, but every day we're growing and we're maturing, and we're removing ourselves from things and bad habits that can cause us, I want to say, pain, and cause us many distractions and cause us, to lose focus on what really matters in life. So again, daily our character needs work. It needs to be able to go under the fire to be able to be refined, so that we can carry with God's glory what it is that He's called us to do here on earth. The 18th thing is, you have to be your best encourager. No matter the level of support, keep going and keep going and keep going and keep pushing and keep pushing. Because, you can't say, I'm going to wait for the accolades of man to be able to do what God has called me to do. Because when God first created you and He placed in you those special gifts and that purpose, He didn't consult anyone of what He was doing. He didn't ask for anyone's opinion. He did it before any other person was, created, for them to have a say. So whether God has told you to do something now or tomorrow, do it anyway. And even if the support comes, that's great. But if the support doesn't come, at least you know that you're following what God has told you to do. The 19th one is saying no to people and how they do their things. The norm and what is considered right is not worth saying no to God for. So if I keep saying yes to people, it means I'm saying no to God. And I've come this far, sorry, in my walk with God, to know that everything that I'm saying yes to God for is worth it. And everything that I'm saying no to others for is also worth it. So let me not get so consumed in trying to people please and always wanting to say yes. If it's a no, it's a no. But once I know that I'm saying yes to God and I'm putting Him first before others, that's the most important thing. Because I don't want to live a life where, I've always said yes to people and I've always said no to God. Because then they're not the ones who created me, and they shouldn't be the ones to have a say on how I do things, or how I say things. So it's very important that our focus is always on saying yes to God, even if it's painful to say no to people. Once I know that God is getting my yes, that's the main thing. The 20th thing is, making mistakes is part of the process. You're not perfect, and so you can only do your best by faith and in faith and through faith. So we are going to make mistakes. We're not perfect, and I've got to the stage now where I don't beat myself up for making mistakes. I understand that I've made the mistake, I learn from it, and I move on. Because I used to dwell in the mistakes that I made, that if God has called me, how can I make this mistake, or how can I fall short? And I began to realize that, I need Him every single day. I need Him every moment, every minute, every second. I need Him more than I need anything else. So if I make the mistakes, I run back to Him and I see what I can learn from it and why I made that mistake. Because with everything, there is an intention of the heart. There is an intention as to why we do things, and there is a reason why those things don't always work out. So it's about understanding that if this hasn't worked out and this is a mistake that I can identify, what can I learn from it? The 21st thing that I've learned is, there is power in consistency and maintaining a steady, healthy work lifestyle. Consistency, I say it all the time, you need to be consistent in everything that you're doing. It's very important that when God tells you to do something, or even in your day-to-day jobs, it doesn't have to be just, things that, we know that God has called us to do, or things that we even take a desire in to help others, or, to maybe keep the bills paid or whatever that is. There's consistency that is required in everything across the board. You know, consistency in marriage, relationships, friendships, family. Everything requires consistency. And no, we may not always be able to keep up, but it's the intention behind it, knowing that even if we can't always be consistent, the fact that we're trying is more than enough. But to not try at all is where it becomes a thing of, okay, I'm just going to be complacent in the fact that if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I hope that makes sense. The 22nd thing is balance is important when you juggle different things. For me, balance is something that I'm working on, because with all the things that I'm doing, I noticed that my friendships were suffering. I wasn't meeting up with people as much. I wasn't calling people as much. I wasn't checking up on people because my mindset was always focused on the things that I know I need to do day to day. And so when I came back from Dubai, I made a conscious effort and decision that I was going to make time for people who were close to me. Maybe a few times in a month, meet up with people and just see how they're doing and where they're at and what support that they need, because we all need each other, relational beings. So we can't go through life alone and say, oh, because life is busy, I didn't have the time. We make the time for those who, you know, need us, and for those who are around us. Even those we don't know, we make time for them. And it could be people in your job that you don't know, but you know that you have to help them because they need the help. Or it could be people that you may not necessarily like, but you know that they need the help, so you're going to pray for them. So it really depends on your level of understanding when it comes to balance and how to be able to make everything balance. It may not always look like that, but again, it's making that conscious effort to say, I want to work things out in a timely way, in a way that balances, in a way where, you know, I'm having the relationships being formed, as well as doing what I need to do, and making sure that I also get the rest and the timing with God on a day to day. The 23rd thing is, just because you don't fit in, it does not mean that you're weird. I know that this is something that I struggled with for a long time. The fact that I always tried to force my way into places and to, you know, groups and things of that nature, but it always backfired on me. And so I learned from that point on that it's okay that I don't fit in. It's okay that I'm not like any other person. It's okay that I'm very different. It's okay that I'm unique. It's okay that, you know, I'm doing all these precious, beautiful things that maybe the next person hasn't got the grace for. But that does not make me weird, and that does not make me any less than those people. It just means that God has set us all apart to do great and mighty things. We're all running a race. So we don't have to try and fit in to please people or to be seen or to be heard. When the time is right, God will open those right doors. We don't need to force our way in it. The 24th thing is, you will outgrow friendships, and it's all a part of life, because not everyone can go where you're going. And again, it just serves as a daily reminder that, you know, there are some people who are in your life right now who may not go the full extent of life and all the things that you're doing in your own life, and it's fine. You know, there are some people who are just there for a season. There's some who are there for a reason, to teach you something, for a lesson, whatever that it may be. Take it all and apply it and move forward, but don't stop and stand still, because people are leaving your life, and you know, you've possessed them for so long that you thought you had every right for them to stay in your life until you had a say so on when they depart. God knows what he's doing when he brings people in our lives, and he knows what he's doing when he takes them out. But it's not for us to question why, but just to learn from, you know, the person's existence in our lives and what we can learn post them going, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's definitely a big one that I had to learn the hard way. The 25th one is, always be willing to learn and do new things. You'll be shocked at the outcome. For me, I'm someone who, if I know I can't do something, I may try, but I may not try it in its full capacity. I may think, okay, because I can't do this, even if I try, it's not going to work. But I've learned along the way, especially recently, that if I don't try, I will never know the outcome. And God has been so faithful to teach me new things, and I've tried new things, and I've just loved the way it's working and coming together. And it just reminds us that when you include God in everything, everything makes sense and everything works together for your good, because you have him overseeing everything. You have his word over everything, and you have the assurance that, you know, your intimate relationship with him, including everything in your life, will always be directed the right way, because he is the source of it. The 26th one is, don't be quick to share things you're doing unless you're led to share. And I think it links into a point that I shared before, about not speaking prematurely and allowing God to help you to know when to share things and when not to speak. So when to speak and when to be silent, you know, because it's very important for us to always think that, okay, once God says this to us, we must go and tell our friends that this is what God has said. But God is saying, no, you need to be able to work on yourselves. You need to be able to, you know, sustain what it is that I've shown you, plan on it, work on it behind the scenes, get the blueprint of what I'm asking you to do. Then when it all comes together, you can then go and share it with people. Because if I shared something now that God has laid on my heart, the people's opinions could well likely overshadow what it is that God has told me to do. So I'm going with different people's opinions, trying to fit that all in the vision. And before you know, I'm burnt out because I'm not doing it the way that God would have ordained for me to do. But rather, I've listened to all these different opinions and all these different voices, and I've put it in the vision that God has for me. So I'm running on empty when I'm doing it. I'm trying to get people's opinions for them to explain what they mean, or for them to try and have an input into what God has told me to do. Bearing in mind, when God gave me that vision, He didn't say, do it with so and so. He just gave me the vision and said, be diligent and be obedient in what I'm telling you to do. Plan it well and then execute it. But sometimes because we run ahead, we bring the wrong people in the vision and things crumble because they had no right being in the vision or being let into the vision in the first place. So again, it's very important that when God tells us to do something or He lays something on our heart, we know the right way to act with it and we know how to, you know, build it and grow it. The 27th thing is different seasons require more of you and or to walk it out with God and not the crowd. So I, for one, have learnt this and I've gone through this a lot where there are times where God will take me away for seasons where I don't speak to anybody, I don't meet up with anybody, I don't speak to anybody, but it's really just me and Him. Not that it's not me and Him anyway, but there are specific seasons and times where it just really has to be me and Him. For that time where He wants me to really get closer to Him, to find out in that season what He would have me do or what He wants me to learn or what I need to work on. So when you find yourself in seasons like that, don't try and force to be around people. Know that God will have it that in that time He wants you to be with Him, and He doesn't want you to include other people. He doesn't want you to get around the noise and the distractions. It's literally just you and Him. And when you seek Him and you allow Him to really work in and through you, and you understand what that season is about, it will all be worthwhile. And you wouldn't want to bring people in who have no business or have no right being there. And the 28th thing that I've learned is your authenticity is your power. Guard it. We are all authentic in our own ways. We are all special in our own ways. We are all gifted. We all have things that, you know, God has called us to do. But sometimes what I've noticed with people is they see someone doing something and then they want to do it by adding their blueprint on that thing. But when someone has been called by God and has been given a blueprint by God to do, the worst thing that someone can do is try and carbon copy it or get the counterfeit of that thing and pass it off as their own. You need to embrace who you are in Christ. You need to understand that you are unique. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And the grace that you have upon your life to do what you're doing is not something that any other person can do. And the sacrifices that you've had to make are not sacrifices that any other person may be able to make. You know, we all have different things that we've done to get to where we are today. We've all got different things in us that maybe the next person, if they try to do it, they may not do it the way we will do it with ease. We have with ease what God has allowed us to do, which another person may not be able to do with ease. So just be grateful for your portion and know that, you know, the way you've done it and the way, you know, God has allowed you to do it, shall I say, is going to be different to other people. But that does not mean that you need to try and copy what other people are doing, because the moment you copy what someone is doing, it may not work out the same way. If anything, it may work out worse. And it will be something that a lot of people will see. So just stay in your lane and just understand that what He's called you to do is for you to do, not for you to try and, you know, push to the side and go and copy what someone else is doing and pass it as your own. The 29th thing is learn to not overanalyze. It's not always as deep as you think. Some things are really just face value. Some things don't need the stress. Some things don't need, you know, I don't know, cutting people off or you reacting or getting angry or whatever that it may be. Some things is just really, okay, this is what it is. This is what I take it as. There's no need to over analyze things or put yourself under so much stress, or put yourself in so much pain of just trying to figure out why this thing has happened or why this person has said what they're saying. Just trust in the process. And lastly, you are the solution to the problems God has created for you to be able to walk through. And other than that, that's my 30. That's my 30 things that I've learned. And I pray that it will bless you. And I pray that you can take something away from it. And once again, thank you very much for everything. God bless you all. Leave any comments or reach me personally for us to talk. And once again, God bless. Take care.